Hello, 8th grade. Today we're going to be talking about how to graph inequalities on a number line. So graphing on a number line, we're back to one dimension instead of having to worry about the full two-dimensional thing we've been graphing so far. But the difference is this time we are graphing inequalities. So if you forgot, an inequality is an equation that uses something besides equal to, which is kind of obvious, but inequality is an equation that uses one of these things. And the things that it uses is going to be less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. All those mean inequality because they're all the different kinds of things we can have that aren't actually equals. So what we're working on today is how to graph an inequality. And I want to start by going through the steps. So step one is that we are going to solve for a variable. Step two is that we are going to plot that point on a number line with a circle. Step three is going to be to draw a line in the direction of the inequality. And my fourth step is going to be to fill in the circle if we have either less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. So if there's an equal to sign there, then we're going to fill in the circle. And I know that's kind of a lot all at once and we haven't seen how it's done yet, but I just want to make sure we have this in our notes. We'll refer back to this as we do a couple practice problems. So if I'm given an inequality, we'll start with a couple easy ones. For example, x is greater than 6. Then what I'm going to need to do is draw a number line because that's where we're plotting it. 0 is a great place to start. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So if x is greater than 6, we're going to pretend at first that this isn't a greater than sign, and we're just going to pretend that it says equal to. I know it doesn't. That's okay. So x equals 6 means that I would draw a circle at 6, because my first step here would be to plot the point with a circle. So I'm going to find 6. I'm going to draw a circle above it. And after that is I need to draw a draw a line in the direction of the inequality. And this says x is greater than 6. So if x is greater than 6, then I want to go that away. So that's where my line's going to go. And I'm going to draw an arrow to say that it keeps on going. And after that, I have to check to see if I need to fill in the circle. And I don't have a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to sign. It's just greater than, so I don't need to fill in the circle, so it's going to stay blank. So this right here, what it's telling me is that if I pick any number on this side of 6, let's use 9 for example. If I plug in x equals 9, then I would have 9 is greater than 6, and that is true. So if it's true, it's going to be somewhere on this line. If it's not true, it's not going to be on this line. So I picked the number 2 for x. If I plug in x equals 2, then I would have 2 is greater than 6, which is definitely not true. And because it's not true, there's no line here. All right, let me clean this up a little bit. And so this is the final line we're going to get. Let's try a couple more. I want to try. Let's do x is less than or equal to negative 2. So right there, I'm going to start with 0. Negative is this direction, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And I need to solve for x first. It's already there. It's all by itself. So I'm going to draw a circle above negative 2. It's going to be right here. And x is less than. Less than is this away. After that, I'm just looking and I see x is less than or equal to negative 2 because that equal sign is there. Equal sign means we fill in this circle. So looking at this, we can tell that x starts at negative 2. Because the circle is filled, it means we have the equal to sign there. and because it goes over to the left, it means it is less than or equal to. So this graph is telling us the exact same thing as that equation. Let's try one more just to see how it works, and say if I have 10 is greater than x. Well, it's already solved for x again, starting with some easy ones. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 right there. Put a couple extra for good measure. And so because it's already solved for x, this is 10 right here. I can draw a circle there. And then the next question is, what direction does this go? And if 10 is greater than x, I can flip this around. That's the same thing as saying x is less than 10. Those are the same, I just flipped it. If 10 is greater than x, then x has to be less than 10. And if it's less than 10, then the arrow should be going that way. Then I need to check if I should fill in my circle here. And because I do not have an equal to sign, I do not fill in my circle, so I leave it blank. So that's it. We're all done with that. Sometimes we'll get a bit of a harder problem that will say something along the lines of x plus 2 is less than 5. And what I do then is I would pretend that this right there is a equal sign. So I pretend this is an equal sign long enough to solve for x, subtracting 2 from each side. I get that x is equal to 3. Then I can plug this back in and say that should actually be a less than sign, so x is less than 3. And from there, 0, 1, 2, 3, I would draw my circle. It would be going to the left because it's less than, and the circle would be open because there's no equal to. So another thing that we have to be able to do is to take a graph and see if we can figure out the inequality from it. So I'm going to draw a graph real quick, and we're going to try to find the inequality. So if I have that's 3 and an arrow going that way, what my inequality would be, we're looking right here and it's pointed to the right, which means it's greater than something. This circle is filled in, which means it's greater than or equal to. And our number, we can pick any variable. I'll use x, and it is greater than or equal to the 3 here. And that's pretty much it. So I'll do a couple more. If I have 0, -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, this is a really terrible looking graph. That's okay. But if I have one right here that looks like that, then looking at this, my number is going to be -2 because the circle is above a -2. I can pick any variable I want. Let's use a this time. It's going to be less than because it's headed to the left. When I see left, I think less than. Right is greater than. And the circle is not filled in, so there's not an equal sign. So this gives me a is less than -2. And that's pretty much it. This isn't too hard of a lesson. It's just looking through this and making sure that we can differentiate between greater than, less than, equal to, all those things, looking at the graph, and also get to the graph from those symbols. So make sure we do the lesson practice for this, and I will see you guys in class.